Good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Story of the Storyteller. Before I start, I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. Let this 2021 bring lots of joy and prosperity into all our lives. Friends, today I am going to deal at length on how nationalistic are these Sangh or RSS. RSS, Hindu Mahasabha, who are considered to be the ideological godfathers of today's BJP. How nationalistic were they? Let's all explore. Friends, how nationalistic was RSS during the independence period? Did RSS really betray the national struggle during the independence period? Did they really put national interest before all their ideologies, agenda and concerns? Were really RSS patriotic enough? Were these RSS self-appointed nationalists, RSS Sangh, really nationalistic? Let's explore, my dear friends. I would like to bring few facts during the independence period. Friends, RSS since its inception in 1925 only tried to disrupt or disrail the independence movement. In fact, the anti-imperialistic struggle that Indian National Congress undertook against the imperialistic British colonist rulers, at every given point of time, the RSS never supported these independence movement against these imperialistic rulers. In fact, Hegdevar, the chief architect of RSS, remained subservient to the British and opposed all the movements of Indian freedom in every phase. When Gandhi launched Salt Satyagraha in 1930, Hegdevar, the RSS chief, sent important information to all cadres of RSS and its members not to get involved in the Salt Satyagraha launched by Mahatma Gandhi. He in fact sent notices to all its Sangh members that Sangh will not participate in the Salt Satyagraha. In fact, friends, Golwalkar documents an incident. Mr. Golwalkar says, and I quote, "There was the movement in 1930-31. At that time, many other people had gone to Dr. G. Dr. G here means Hegdevar. This delegation requested Dr. G that this movement will give independence and Sangh should not lag behind. At that time, when a gentleman told Dr. G that he was ready to go to jail, Dr. G said, 'Definitely go, but who will take care of your family then?' Dr. G asked that gentleman who came to Hegdevar to say that he wanted to participate in the Salt Satyagraha. Then the gentleman replied, 'I have sufficiently arranged resources for my family to run expenses for 2 years and also to pay fines if need be according to the requirements.' In fact, this gentleman asks Hegdevar's permission to participate in the Salt Satyagraha. Then Mr. Golwalkar says, then Dr. G told him, 'If you have fully arranged for the resources, then come out to work for the Sangh for 2 years.' He says, instead of working for the nation or for the freedom of the nation, why don't you come and use the same resources to work for the Sangh? After returning home, Golwalkar says, after returning home, that gentleman neither went to jail nor came out to work for the Sangh. This clearly shows that Dr. G was against RSS members working for Indian independence. In fact, but after saying so, Hegdevar himself, participated in the salt satyagraha, went to jail. Then when we ponder why did he go to jail when he always asked the RSS cadres not to participate in the salt satyagraha, few experts say that Hegdevar was astonished at the type of movement that the Indian National Congress had within the Hindu community too. So he went to jail to bring few of these dedicated people to work for the Sangh is what the few experts say. In fact, Indian National Congress at that time passed a resolution in 1934 which asked its members not to become members of RSS or Hindu Mahasabha or including Muslim League, because they felt that all these three organizations had communal intent and were fascist in nature. Friends, not only during 1930, in December 1940 when Mahatma Gandhi ji started the Quit India movement, a note from the Home Department of the British says, and the secretary of that has said, a few RSS leaders met the secretary of the then British government and told them that during the Quit India movement that Indian National Congress and Gandhi did across the country, they offered the British that the Sangh, members of the Sangh, would be ready to be working as civil guards for the British government against the Quit India movement that Indian National Congress did. Friends, then you can now imagine how nationalistic was RSS really. In 1947, when the Indian tricolor, our national flag, was introduced, then too RSS and the Hindu Mahasabha, the ideological godfathers of today's BJP, opposed the same national tiranga, the same national flag they opposed. And for 30 to 40 years post-independence also, they never unfurled the national flag at RSS headquarters at Nagpur. Friends, who killed Mahatma Gandhi? It was Nathuram Godse, one of the members of RSS who killed Mahatma Gandhi. And according to the personal secretary of Mahatma Gandhi, he quotes, members of RSS in some places were asked to switch on the radio on Friday. Few days before, the RSS had given clear instructions to their cadre to switch on the radio on Friday, the day when Mahatma Gandhi was killed, to hear some good news. Friends, not only that, after the news, there were reports that RSS were overjoyed. They danced on the streets and distributed sweets when Gandhi was killed. Friends, today these BJP glorify Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and try to tell him he was a nationalist, he had a rightist agenda and all. I would like to bring to your notice what Sardar Patel wrote to Mr. Golwalkar, and I quote, RSS was full of communal poison. As a final result of this poison, the country had to suffer the sacrifice of the valuable life of Gandhiji. Even an iota of sympathy of the government or the people no more remained for the RSS, he said. In fact, the opposition grew for the RSS. Opposition turned more severe against the RSS. When RSS men expressed joy and distributed sweets after Gandhiji's death, Under these circumstances, the government had to take action against RSS and banned RSS is what Sardar Patel said. RSS never accepted the constitution also. Those who didn't support Indian independence movement, those who didn't support Quit India movement, those who didn't support the salt satyagraha, those who wrote apology to the British, those who didn't want the national tricolor and who didn't host the tricolor for 40 years post-independence, those who opposed the constitution, those who didn't want the constitution that we are now following, that they now swear upon and are now in government, those who wanted Manusmriti to be our constitution and not this constitution that they swear upon today, those who adore Godse instead of Gandhi, those who adore Godse, the killer of the father of our nation, Gandhi, those who celebrated the death of the father of the nation and distributed sweets, are today giving us gyan of nationalism. Now, you all decide whether these BJP communal fascists are truly nationalists or they are dongi nationalists, or I would call hyper nationalists, or they are acting nationalists to come to power. They are fooling people in the name of nationalism. They are fooling people that they are nationalists. But history suggests, and I have given ample proof that they have never fought for this nation. This nation was never their interest. They bring in all these masks like nation, religion, army and whatnot, just to further their divisive, communal, fascist ideology and to remain in power. They use all these masks to fool people through their propaganda of Goebbels theory. I only, on this new year, ask my friends to just read history, to know the history of RSS, to know the history of these Sanghis. Only then you will know whether they are real nationalists or pseudo nationalists. Jai Hind.